What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Super Beast GN, and today we're going to be doing a little deck tech, Breya Etherium Shaper, and we're going to go through this kind of like we went through the Marin of Clan Neltoth deck. If you watched that, if you missed that, go back and check that out after this. But we are playing Breya Etherium Shaper. Now, you might know her. You might love her. You might have seen us play this deck on the channel on the arena. But I'm going to be showing off my paper magic deck today. So, and once again, I am not set up very well for this. The camera might be a little grainy. I am zoomed in a little more than I was last time so that you can see these. So I don't have to put graphics on the screen. But we have two versions here. I like to use both of them. Just kind of, you know, why not? All the ones that we can. Breya Etherium Shaper is a white, blue, black, red legendary artifact creature. Human. Just a human, you know. She found ways to enhance herself. When Breya Etherium Shaper enters the battlefield, create two 1/1 blue Thopter artifact creature tokens with flying. You can pay 2 and sacrifice 2 artifacts. Choose 1. Breya can deal 3 damage to target player or planeswalker. She can target, you make target creature get -4/-4 until the end of turn. Or you can gain 5 life. Well, we have a lot of stuff in this deck that's going to enable the whole Breya thing. So, let's get right into it. We're going to start with the Planeswalkers, because there's a few of them. A little bit. We're going to start with Tezzeret, Betrayer of Flesh, and this is in here mostly because it cares about artifacts, but because the first activated ability of an artifact you activate each turn costs 2 less to activate. And it just so happens that Breya's effect is exactly 2 mana. So the first time we activated each turn, or the first time we activated any any activated ability, we'll hope that it's Breya each time. It'll be for free. So that's pretty cool. With Tezzeret, we can draw 2 cards, then discard 2 cards unless we discard an artifact. Pretty much a lot, like most things in the deck are artifacts, so we'll be able to get some value off that. We can make a target artifact an artifact creature. If it isn't a vehicle, it has a base power and toughness 4/4. But if it is a vehicle, it just has its power and toughness. And then the -6, you get an emblem with whenever an artifact you control becomes tapped to draw a card. That's not a May ability, so we use that on our own risk, because you never know. That's like, you know, we could deck ourselves out. Especially, even in a 100-card deck, we could deck ourselves out. But this is 4 mana, so pretty cool thing. We're not going to, like, spend that much time on all of them. Tezzeret the Schemer creates an artifact token, creates an Etherium cell, which basically is a treasure for all intents and purposes. It's different than a treasure, but it functions exactly like a treasure. And then this is also kind of like removal, so the -X, the +X, -X could be used as like a power up for our creatures, but it could also be used as a removal spell as well. Probably not going to get the emblem with that one. At the beginning of combat on your turn, target artifact you control becomes an artifact creature with base power toughness 5/5. It's, you know, not what we're doing here. We can do it, but we really want it for the first 2. Daretti Scrap Servant, and that one is a +2, which is really nice. So we can get to that -10 pretty fast. But you can discard up to 2 cards and draw that many cards. Okay, pretty cool. The -2 is sacrifice an artifact. If you do, return target artifact card from your graveyard to the battlefield. So that's pretty easy just to like do immediately. And then the next turn you can like plus it, and then you can do it again in the next turn. So the fact that it pluses 2 and then minuses 2, just kind of like, you know, make sure you can do each one every other turn, you know. The -10 is you get an emblem with whenever an artifact you is put into your graveyard from the battlefield. Return that card to the battlefield at the beginning of the next end step. So your artifacts will never die after that. So pretty cool stuff. We have the Mirror Retriever. Basically just gives gets an artifact back from your graveyard when it dies. So it's just kind of like one of those things. Just you know, it's a singleton format. Commander, you only have 1 of each card, so you want to be able to recur them from the graveyard. Filigree Angel, when it enters, we gain 3 life for each artifact we control. So, gain in life, and we're not even in green. But we are in white. Padim is pretty cool. Console of Innovation, not an artifact, but it is a legendary creature. Artifacts you control have hexproof at the beginning of your upkeep. If you control an artifact with the highest converted mana cost or tied for the highest converted mana cost, draw a card. This is going to come into play later with some later cards with combos. Sorry about that. Marionette Master, 4 and 2 black. This is one of my favorites from the Kaladesh set, which was the first set I actually played with. It's Fabricate 3, so you either get to put 3/1/1 counters on it or make 3 servo tokens. And then whenever an artifact you control is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, target opponent loses life equal to Marionette Master's power. So most of the time, you want to put the counters on this just to get that value. So that's what we're going to want. Like, there are times where we may want to make the servo tokens, but pinging our opponents for 1 each time, not so great. But pinging them for 4, now that's pretty good. And I remember this kind of like, this got pretty expensive. Not pretty expensive, but pretty expensive for like a bulk rare that we used to, like I have like a million of these because I bought a lot of Kaladesh back in the day. What is it? Marionette Master. Let's see how much it's going for right now. Yeah, like TCG player, like $3 to $4, $2 to $4, $2.50 to $4. You know, whatever. We have Duplicant. I actually got one of these in my energy deck, my energy precon, and I was like, oh man. Like, when Duplicate enters the battlefield, you may exile target non-token creature. All right. And then I'm like why, like, I don't know. Why would I want to, like, the whole thing was, in that deck, we're making copies of our artifacts. And I'm like, well, why would I make a copy of it? When it dies, they get their stuff back. It does not say until it leaves the battlefield. It just exile. You just exile the card, which is nice. So we have ways to recur this a bunch of times, and we'll see that later. But just good removal for the artifact deck. Noxious Gearhulk. When it enters, we get to destroy a target creature. So another target creature, and we gain life equal to its toughness. So pretty good stuff. Just more removal. We need removal. We always need removal. You need to run more removal in your commander decks. Aethersworn Adjudicator. We can destroy target creature or enchantment, or we can untap it. So you know, it's removal that we can just keep using each turn. So pretty cool stuff. Psy Master Thopterus. Whenever you cast an artifact spell, create a 1/1 Thopter artifact creature token with flying, and 1 in a blue. Sacrifice 2 artifacts to draw a card. We have a lot of card draw in this deck. So when it comes to sacrificing and stuff, for the artifacts, we have a Thought Monitor, which is kind of like a Mull Drifter for not really a Mull Drifter, but it's kind of like a Mull Drifter. We do get to cast it for cheaper. Enters the battlefield, draws 2 cards, flies. I mean, I don't know, pretty good stuff. And it's got affinity for artifacts, so we have a lot of artifacts in the deck. Soul of New Phyrexia. It's got it's a 6 mana 6/6 with trample, and we can pay 5 permanents you control gain indestructible until the end of turn. So keeping all our stuff nice and safe. And then for 5, we can exile it from the graveyard. Permanents you control gain indestructible till the end of turn. So even from beyond, it still helps. Sharding Sphinx needs to get that checked. 4 and 2 blue. It's a flyer. 4/4. Whenever an artifact creature you control deals combat damage to a player, you may put a 1/1 blue Thopter artifact creature token with flying onto the battlefield. Whenever an artifact creature you control deals combat damage, so you can, if you deal damage with 4 different ones, you're making 4 Thopters. So a lot of Thopters in this deck. Hannah, Ship's Navigator. So it's a 1 white and blue, and for that same cost and tapping, you can return a target artifact or enchantment card from your graveyard to your hand. Pretty much a must-have in this deck. Ornithopter of Paradise taps for 1 any color of mana. Flyer 0/2 for 2. It's basically a Birds of Paradise, but it's a Ornithopter of Paradise for 2. Liberator, Urza's Battle Thopter. We have a legendary artifact creature Thopter. Flash flying, you may cast colorless spells and artifact spells as though they had flash. And we have a card that turns all of our stuff in our deck into artifacts, so that'll actually come into play later. We talk about the other non-creature stuff. Whenever you cast a spell in the amount of mana, if the amount of mana spent to cast that spell is greater than Liberator's power, put a +1/+1 counter on it. So you know you can get bigger. Mirror Battlesphere. This makes a bunch of colorless mirror artifact creature tokens. It makes four when it enters the battlefield, and then you can tap any you can tap X untapped mirror you control. If you do, Mirror Battlesphere gets plus X plus O until the end of turn and deals X damage to defending player. So it's 7 mana, but we have ways to make our artifacts cost less. And here's one of them: Sammy, a Wildcat Captain, one of the newer ones. Not super new, but newer in comparison to a lot of the other cards in here. It's 4, a red, and a white. And this has become one of the most important cards in this deck because this could make most of your deck pretty much free. Spells you cast have affinity for artifacts. Yeah, that's insane. So like with the amount of artifacts we make and have in this deck, we can make the Mirror Battlesphere pretty much free. So Sammy Wildcat Captain's got double strike and vigilance and is a 4/4, so if you can keep it safe, and we have ways to keep it safe, pretty important card. Reckless Fireweaver. Whenever an artifact enters the battlefield under your control, it deals 1 damage to each opponent. Pretty straightforward stuff in the artifact deck. Shroom the Hegemon. 3, a white, a blue, a black. When it enters the battlefield, you can return a target artifact card from your graveyard to the battlefield. That's it. So just more recursion. Scrap Trawler. Whenever Scrap Trawler or another artifact is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, return to your hand a target artifact card in your graveyard with lesser converted mana cost. So, a lot of stuff. If you see, like, we have the Shroom Hedgeman, which is 6, and we also have the Mirror Battlesphere, which is 7. So, a lot of, like, those stuff, they die. We can just get a bunch of stuff. We can just get something pretty big back. But it's sometimes nice to maybe get like a artifact land back, you know. Enthusiastic Mechanaut. This is from Kaladesh, one of my favorite sets, and it is an artifact spell. It says artifact spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. So we're trying to do the thing where we make everything cost less in different ways. Well, full disclosure, there is no what is it? The key that makes every you can say artifact and then it makes them all like 1 less, and then the other thing that makes anything that like the imprint one that share, I can't remember what it is because I used to have it in here, but I don't have it in here anymore. We don't have those in here, but we don't need them. Baleful Strix got flying, death touch. When it enters, you draw a card. Pretty easy stuff. Meteor Golem, just good removal. Just destroy target non-land permanent opponent controls, and it's an artifact, so we can, like I said, we have ways to be able to cast it for less. We have ways that where it sometimes can be free. Just really good removal. Stride Hanger Automaton, which is actually something I took out of the energy deck and put in here. I was like, this is probably better for the Breya deck, as Breya, as we know, makes 2 Thopters when it comes in. Thopters you control get +1/+1. If 1 or more artifact tokens would be created under your control, those tokens plus an additional 1/1 colorless Thopter artifact creature token with flying are created instead. So you'll make 3, and they'll all be 2/2s. Pretty good, pretty powerful. Joyra, Weatherlight Captain. Whenever you cast a historic spell, draw a card. Artifacts and legendaries and sagas are historic, and this is mostly artifacts. Emry, Lurker of the Loch. This spell costs 1 less to cast for each artifact you control. I guess before affinity for artifacts. I guess before they were calling it that. As far as I remember, we've always called it affinity. I don't know if Wizards always did. But I know, like, the Gearseeker Serpent didn't say that before, and now it says it, so I don't know. Maybe it was just a more recent thing. I don't know. When Emry, Lurker of the Loch enters the battlefield, mill 4 cards. You can tap it, choose an artifact card in your graveyard. You may cast that card this turn. More recursion from the graveyard. A Hellkite Tyrant, 4 and 2 red, flying trample. Whenever Hellkite Tyrant deals combat damage to a player, gain control of all artifacts that player controls. We don't, like, that's fine and all, and that's awesome. But we care about this. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you control 20 or more artifacts, you win the game. So, more often than not, if this is on the field, you're probably going to win the game the next turn if it's not dealt with. Because there's a lot of artifacts in this deck and a lot of ways to make artifacts on the field. And the tokens and token makers and whatnot. Sphinx Summoner for 3 and a blue and a black. It's a tutor. When it enters the battlefield, you may search your library for an artifact creature card, reveal it, and put it into your hand. If you do, shuffle your library. I love tutors. Tutors belong in Commander. If you're not running tutors, find some tutors, man. Diabolic, what is it? there's some cheap tutors out there, you know, like Razaketh's right, Diabolic Tutor. There's just a lot of like cheap stuff you can use. You know, it doesn't need to be like Demonic Tutor, you know, like $60 card. You can find the cheap ones, and yeah, they're not as good, but they work. Sidri Galvanic Genius, white, a blue, and a black. It's got a blue. You can for a blue, you can target non-creature artifact becomes an artifact creature with power toughness equal each equal to its converted mana cost until end of turn. And for white and black, target artifact creature gains death touch and lifelink until the end of turn. So, we don't have Aetherflux Reservoir in here. Sadly, I sold all of mine a while back, and I just never bought any more. And they're very expensive, so I don't really have a big incentive to buy more. But I'll get one day, and it'll be in this deck for this reason. But like with that, if you did have Aetherflux Reservoir in the deck, it would be able to give the Aetherflux Reservoir, or it would be able for Esper turn the Aetherflux Reservoir into a artifact creature. And then for the other two, it would be lifelink and death touch. And then when you pay the 50 life, you deal damage to a player. You gain 50 life, you know. So that, but really, it's just to gain life and stay in the game. We're not doing the Aetherflux Reservoir currently, but like I said, eventually I will find one. I will get one again, and we'll put it in the deck. But for now, we don't have it, and you know, I kind of regret selling them all. I had like 5 of them. I think I had 5 or 6. I sold them all. And that was before they got real expensive. Oh my god. Like, I think I sold them for like $11 each. Now they're like $30, $40. Ugh. You hate to see it. That's why I don't sell Magic cards. I don't really sell Magic cards anymore. I'm gonna wait until the day I die to sell them. You know what I'm saying? Or until the day before I die. We have Shimmermere. It has Flash, and you may cast artifact spells as though they had Flash. Just simple stuff. Solemn Simulacrum, just really good. We're not playing green, so we don't have a whole lot of ramp, so this is our ramp. Some of our ramp for the deck. 4 mana, 2/2. Just search your library for a basic land card, and then also, when it dies, it draws a card. Master of Etherium, 2 and a blue. Its power and toughness are equal to the number of artifacts you control. Other artifact creatures you control get +1/+1. We just want this to be a big beater. The +1/+1 helps, especially when you're making like Thopter tokens, but we just want it to be like a big like 15/15, like it has to be dealt with, you know. Boundary Inspector, artifact spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. I really love these Brothers War ones. I had when Brothers War came out, I bought a box of it. I was like, yeah, give me a box of that stuff. And because I love artifacts, and I knew that these like blueprint ones were in there, and I just really love these. So anytime I get a chance to use the blueprint version of anything, I'm using it, you know. Well, at least in my good decks. At least in my, like, I say good decks. All my decks are good in my opinion, but some of them are higher end. And when you have the higher end deck, you want like the coolest version in your mind. So those are the coolest versions in my mind. We have the last creature that I know of. I think I have them in order here. Chief Engineer. Artifact spells you cast have Convoke. Creatures can help cast those spells, so we can convoke our artifact spells basically. Which is pretty nice when you're starting out. If you get this like early on, and then you need to get your engine going, Chief Engineer will help you get that engine going because he's an engineer. On to the instants. There's not very many instants and sorceries, so this is gonna be real fast. Cyclonic Rift, game changer. Just like if you're gonna have removal in blue, you gotta have it. We also have other board wipes in the deck, but this is a really good one. It's an instant that just returns all non-land permanents you don't control to your owner's hands. And more often than not, nobody's using this. Nobody's using this for 1 and a blue. We're overloading it every single time. There's no way. I mean, I'm sure there may be a time where we're using it for 1 and a blue, but most of the time we're trying to overload it. That's where the power of this card really lies. Cyclonic Rift, just a good card all around. We have a Path to Exile for instant speed removal. Its controller may search their library for basic land card, put that card onto the battlefield tapped, and then shuffle. Exiles the creature, man. Just Swords to Plowshare is not in here. I always debate what's better, Path to Exile or Swords to Plowshare. I think Swords to Plowshare is better early game, and I think Path to Exile is better late game. Because you don't want to use Path to Exile early game because it ramps your opponent. But late game it doesn't matter because your opponent's probably going to have like a million lands anyways. And then late game, the Swords to Plowshare probably is going to get your opponent back in the game. So it's like, you know, they both have their reason for being. So But we have Path to Exile in here, which is it's a good card. I like it. Arcane Denial. It's a counter target spell. Its controller may draw up to 2 cards at the beginning of the next turn's upkeep. You draw a card at the beginning of the next turn's upkeep. So just a 2-mana counter any spell. Look, sometimes you don't care about your opponent drawing cards. If they have a problematic commander, you are going to want to counter it. And I know what you're thinking, like, why are you countering people's commanders? That's not fun. I'm here to win, folks. We're making these decks to win. I want to win. Yes, we're all having fun, but also, like, you know, you have your different style decks. You have your, you know, your flavor decks. You have your competitive decks. I want these to be like the best I can possibly make them, but like still like have fun building them, you know, like not have like the most expensive cards, but have expensive cards that do something that you want to do. Like do all the good things, you know, like find you the thing. I want to do fun things. All right, that's fun for me. If my opponents want to have fun, they need to build their deck so that they'll have fun. I'm not responsible for their fun. I want to just counter things and you know do the thing that I want to do. War of Invention, more tutor, for 3 blue and X, and it's got improvise, so you can tap your artifacts to pay for this. But search your library for an artifact card with converted mana cost X or less, put it onto the battlefield, and then shuffle your library. With Sammy, I mean, you get that affinity for artifacts. You don't have to pay as much. You can pretty much do this for free. So, love that. We have Thoughtcast, which is a sorcery. Affinity for artifacts, draw 2 cards. It's 4 and a blue. Most of the time, we're going to be casting this for 1 blue. But if we have to cast it for a little more, that's fine, too. Organic Extinction, improvise, destroy all non-artifact creatures. So all of our creatures, eventually, we want them to become artifacts. So, and we'll see how in just a little bit. But 8 and 2 white, we can improvise it pretty easy with the affinity for artifacts with Sammy. And we're not relying so much on Sammy, but like a lot of these cards are the reason I put Sammy in this deck. Is because like, man, Sammy just makes this card much better, you know? Like we have ways to destroy all creatures and keep our stuff safe, but for 8 and 2 white, when we can possibly just pay 2 white for it, Sammy makes it all better. So we have the Sammy in the deck for that reason, and the Organic Extinction is another reason why. We have Efficient Construction. The one enchantment in the deck, only enchantment, Efficient Construction, 3 and a blue. Whenever you cast an artifact spell, create a 1/1 colorless Thopter artifact creature token with flying. Yeah, we're just making more tokens, making more Thopters, doing the thing. A lot of our stuff is artifacts, so we're going to be making a lot of tokes. On to the artifacts, just artifact, non-creature artifacts. We have Time Sieve. This one is a no-brainer to put in this deck. Blue and a black, tap, sacrifice 5 artifacts, take an extra turn after this one. When I tell you, we can probably get infinite extra turns every turn, like do this every turn because we make so many, we're making so many artifacts in the deck. It's going to be crazy. But Time Sieve is definitely a must. This is one of the later additions to the deck. This wasn't here for a very long time, but I was like, you know what? It's time. It's time to get those extra turns going. We got to take the next step in the evolution and get the extra turns going. We gotta move this up. I use the bracket system as like obviously it's like how competitive the deck is, and I'm just like, I want to move it up brackets each time. So like I think this is probably like a bracket 3, maybe a bracket 4. I don't know. It's definitely a bracket 3. We do have 1 game changer, but like that doesn't matter. You guys don't have to play like that. You guys can just be like, well, I'm just using this deck and my friends are using this deck and it's fine. You know, we don't have to play like that, but it's for guidelines. It's just guidelines, you know, it's not a rule, it's guidelines. So Time Sieve, good card. Just get those infinite extra turns. We have Chimil, the Inner Sun. And this is spells you control can't be countered, which is important. You don't want to get your stuff countered. At the beginning of your end step, discover 5. You just like exile stuff from the and you exile cards from the top of your library until you exile a non-land card with mana value 5 or less, and then you can cast it without paying its mana cost, which is pretty awesome. Cast stuff for free once again, but only 5 or less. We have Blinkmoth Urn. 5 mana at the beginning of each player's pre-combat main phase. If Blinkmoth Urn is untapped, that player adds colorless to his mana pool, to his or her mana pool for each artifact he or she controls. Well, we have ways to convoke, or improvise. We have improvise stuff in the deck, so we can like tap it, even though it doesn't tap on its own, but we can tap it. But this is going to benefit us far more than our opponents, unless our opponent's also playing an artifact deck. But if we're the only artifact deck at the table, this is gonna at best maybe give your opponent like a couple other mana, which could be devastating. It could be, but this is in the long run going to help us more than it's going to help our opponents 100%. So. Collector's Vault, just putting more treasures onto the field, drawing card, discard a card to find our thing. This is singleton format, so Collector's Vault help you find the things you need. Just a really good card. I think it's nice. Plus it's another artifact, you know. Navineral's Disc, 4 mana. It enters tap, but you can pay 1 and tap it to destroy all artifacts, creatures, and enchantments. And that's, if you look, it destroys all artifacts, creatures, and enchantments. You pay 1 and tap it to do that. It does not say you have to sacrifice this. So if you have a way to make this indestructible, you can just do this every turn. And look, we have ways. We have ways in the deck to make Navineral's Disc indestructible. So, yeah, we'll get back to that in a minute. We have Repurposing Bay. 2 and a blue. This is, you're probably familiar with this if you're familiar with some standard cards. 2 tap, sacrifice another artifact. You can search your library for an artifact card with mana value equal to 1 plus the sacrificed artifact's mana value. Put that card on the battlefield, then shuffle. Activate only as a sorcery. So just more tutor, more finding things. So we have that. Sword of the Meek. We can use this as an infinite combo with our Time Sieve. Equip creature gets +1/+2. Equip 2. Whenever a +1/+1 creature enters the battlefield under your control, you may return Sword of the Meek from your graveyard to the battlefield. So we have ways to go infinite with this Time Sieve, with the Time Sieve too, to make infinite creatures and then also like get infinite turns. So that's why Sword of the Meek is in here. It attaches to the creature, but like, we can what is it? There's ways. You'll see. There are ways. We have Planner Bridge. My brain just gets mush sometimes, and I forget. I lose track of what I'm talking about. So I'm just gonna move on. So we're not stuttering and doing all that things. We have ADHD, so we want to keep it moving here. Planner Bridge, 6 mana. What is one of my favorite artifacts of all time? For 8 mana, you can tap it, search your library for a permanent card, put it onto the battlefield, and then shuffle your library. So this is just a way to get anything out of your deck and put it onto the battlefield, and just any deck where I'm eventually going to be able to use a lot of mana or have a lot of mana on the field. I think this is key. If you're playing a lot of huge things, like even if you're playing like Eldrazi, if you're playing like 10 mana Eldrazi, put this in your deck. I mean, it's for 8 mana, you get like the 10 mana thing, you know? Cranial Plating, equipped creature you control gets +1/+0 for each artifact you control. You can pay 2 black to attach it to a creature you control, or you can equip 1. And you might be thinking, if you're newer to the game or you're not well versed, you might be wondering like, wait, why would you attach it for 2 black if you can equip for 1? Equip is only a sorcery. The 2 black part is a instant speed. So for 2 black, you can just attach it instant speed. So that's why that is different. That's in case you're wondering why. Shotokai Genesis Engine. This is just a really, really freaking good card. 1 and tap, draw 2 cards and discard a card. You make a 1/1 colorless pilot creature token with this creature cruise vehicles as though its power were 2 or greater. We don't really care about that part. Like we make a creature that's a good blocker, that's fine. We just want to draw those cards every turn, and it's pretty easy to do. So, good card. Encroaching Mycosynth. Now, this is what we've been talking about. Non-land permanents you control are artifacts in addition to their other types. The same is true for permanent spells you control, so on the stack. And then non-land permanents cards that you own that aren't on the battlefield. So, in your deck, in the graveyard, in exile even. So this is what we're going to use to make everything into artifacts. So now everything can have affinity for artifacts. Everything can help the affinity for artifacts. So pretty good card, and I love this. I know there's better cards that do better things, but this was in my budget at the time, and this is why this is in here. We have Conjurer's Closet. At the beginning of your end step, you may exile target creature you control, then return that card to the battlefield in your control. Our commander has an enter the battlefield effect, so I feel like it has to be in here. Plus, we have other enter the battlefield effects as well, so we want to just keep recurring things on, even when they're on the battlefield, even if they don't die. We just keep them on the battlefield. They just keep blinking in and out, and they're good. I did have more blink cards in here originally, but I felt Conjurer's Closet's enough. Trading Post. This was like in the pre-con, I think. Yeah, this was definitely in the pre-con. I just put it in here because it's just good value. Like, you can tap it, pay 1 and tap. You can either discard a card to gain 4 life. You can pay 1 life to create a 0/1 goat. You can sacrifice a creature to return a target artifact from your graveyard to your hand. That's probably what we're going to be doing a lot of. Or you can sacrifice an artifact to draw a card, which we can also do. So it's pretty nice. Trading post. Chromatic Lantern. This is a 4-color deck. This is an artifact. It's a mana rock. Lands you control have add 1 mana of any color. It's a no-brainer. Like, it's a 4-mana deck. So it's a 4-mana thing. So we want to make sure that we have our mana all the time, and it is an artifact to help our artifact stuff. Arcane Signet. Just 2-mana rock. You know it. You love it. It's in every precon. It's in every deck. It should be in every deck. I think it's just a good card. Darksteel Forge. The creme de la creme. This is what's going to make all our stuff indestructible. And with the Mycosynth, this is the Encroaching Mycosynth. I was going to say Mycosynth Lattice. That's the better one. In the Encroaching Mycosynth, we make everything into indestructible artifacts. So, which is really nice. So everything's indestructible, and we put the Padim, the console, the Padim on there that gives everything hexproof. Now if you have all 3 of those, everything you have is an artifact that's hexproof and indestructible. Like, literally only a Farewell and stuff that exiles will stop it. So, pretty good. And now with Darksteel Forge on the battlefield, you can Navinaral's Disc pretty easily, and then you can just do that every turn, and all your stuff stays safe. You kill everything else, everybody else's creatures, and, you know, your friends have a bad time, you have a great time, and you get targeted. I mean, you get targeted. Hopefully, if you're playing a deck that's mean, you're probably playing at a table with a lot of mean decks. So like, you know, everybody takes turn being the arch enemy. But Darksteel Forge, really nice. Got this back in the day. And yes, we are telling stories. If you don't like storytelling, what are you doing here? This is what we do. We tell stories about cards because we love it. We love memories. Darksteel Forge, I think I got for, I think I bought it for like $9 back in the day, or $8 or $9. It was at my local card shop, and now this thing is I didn't realize this thing had skyrocketed. This one is going for quite a bit. Let's see. This one is, it's saying Card Kingdom anywhere from $42.99 to $47.99. And TCG Player $38.57 to $50.49. So pretty expensive since then. It is my pride and joy of the deck. I really like it. makes all artifacts indestructible. All artifacts you control. Doesn't get better than that, I think. Especially in the artifact deck. We have Soul Ring. No explanation necessary. It's just Soul Ring. You love it. You know it. Thopter Foundry. This is what's going to make us go infinite with infinite turns. We can sacrifice a non-token artifact to create a 1/1 blue Thopter artifact creature token. We pay 1 to do that. With flying, you gain 1 life, and when we make that 1/1 blue artifact creature token, we will sacrifice the Sword of the Meek. The Sword of the Meek goes to the graveyard. We make the token comes in. Sword of the Meek comes back. We attach it. We can sacrifice the Sword of the Meek again because we don't have to tap this. We send it to the graveyard, make another 1/1 token. It comes back. It attaches to it. We sacrifice the Meek again. We just keep doing that over and over and over and over again. And then each turn we can do that a couple times. We can do that 5 times each turn, and we just get infinite turns every turn. So the Time Sieve will tap, sacrifice the 5 tokens, and then boom. We are off to the races. There we go. Panharmonicon, just because we do have stuff that happens when something enters. So our commander, most notably. So Panharmonicon, double triggers, plus this is an artifact. It says if an artifact or creature entering causes a triggered ability of a permanent, you control a trigger. That ability triggers a second time. So we have like the Filigree, which gains us life. We have stuff that we have the one that searches our library for an artifact card. So we can search for 2 artifact cards. So just numerous reasons why we have the Panharmonicon. The next ones are lands, and we have, these ones are just basic lands. We're not gonna like talk about them. Just the Kamigawa Neon Dynasty full arts, which you know we talked about it in the Marin deck. I love these. I think these are beautiful. I think this is a beautiful swamp. I also think that it looks like a mountain. And it gets confusing sometimes, but yeah, those are we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 basic lands because we are a 4-colored deck, so we don't have a whole lot. And then we have the non-basic lands. We have Command Tower. I don't think there's any explanation needed. If you play Commander, you know what Command Tower does. Flooded Strand. It's a it's a fetch land that searches for an island or a plains. We can get any island or plains in the deck. Here's an island. Fetid Pools. Just it's a cycling land. It enters tapped, but it is an island and a swamp. We have a Blood Crypt. Shock land. This is a swamp and a mountain. We will be able to search for that as well. Goldmire Bridge. Just an artifact land. We have a few artifact lands in here, and that will up our artifact count on the field. We have Archway of Innovation. It says we can add blue. It enters tapped unless we control an island. We do have islands, might enter tapped, you know, whatever. But blue and tap, the next spell you cast this turn has improvise. So we have, like I said, we have a lot of artifacts in the deck. So pretty good stuff. Power Depot, another artifact land. And it should be noted with the Darksteel Citadel, all these lands become indestructible. We can add colorless. We can add 1 mana of any color, spend this mana only to cast an artifact spell or activate abilities of artifacts. The hopes is we get the Encroaching Mycosynth, and then we can just play everything with that. And it's got modular 1. So it comes in with a +1/+1 counter on it, and then when it dies, or if it gets destroyed, we can put that +1/+1 counter on something else. So I don't foresee it getting destroyed. It can get destroyed. It's pretty easy to destroy if we don't have the indestructibility on it. So it might come into play. I just have it as another artifact land. I really like that. We have Crumbling Necropolis, which is just it's a tri-land. Just adds blue, black, or red. It's not one of the land type tri-lands. It's just a budget tri-land. We have Fabled Passage, just a fetch land that just is really good in any deck, especially in a deck where we have very few basics and we just need to search them out sometimes. We gotta search out any color, you know. Drossforge Bridge, dual land. It's another artifact land. Darksteel Citadel, another artifact land, colorless. That one's indestructible. So, Mystic Monastery, taps for blue, white, and red. Prairie Stream, it's a plains and an island, so it's fetchable by the Flooded Strand. This land enters tapped unless you control 2 or more basic lands. We don't have a whole lot of basic lands, but you know. We have Academy Runes. Taps for colorless. 1 in a blue. We can put a target artifact card from your graveyard on top of your library. Making sure that we never, ever, ever run out of stuff to do. We have another artifact land, blue and red one. Nomad Outpost. Taps for red, white, or black. So we have most of our lands covered. Most of our colors covered. We have Irrigated Farmland, Plains, and an island. It's another cycling land. We have Vault of Whispers, another artifact land that taps for black. Polluted Delta. It's another fetch land that searches out an island or a swamp. So we can search out islands, swamps, or plains in the deck with the fetch lands that we have. Spire of Industry. Taps for colorless mana. We can pay 1 life to add 1 mana of any color to our mana pool and activate this ability only if you control an artifact. Guess what? We have artifacts in the deck. No shortage. Mistvault Bridge, the blue-black artifact land. Canyon Slough, just another cycling tap land that's a swamp or a mountain. The cycling lands, not only are they like land types, swamps, mountains, whatever, but they also cycle. In case we have too many lands or in case we have the affinity and we don't need the lands, we can just cycle them away for something we do need. Rustvale Bridge, the red-white artifact land. We have the Hallowed Fountain, just the shock land. Taps for blue or white. And this is the this is the Lorwyn one. I got this out of a box of Lorwyn, and it's double-sided, so you can play either this side or the dark side. So you can do the Lorwyn side here, or you can do the Shadowmoor side. And I have it on the Shadowmoor side because I like the art a little better. It's just kind of like I like the darkness of it, you know. This is a seashell. It's a seashell in the day. This is a seashell in the night. All right, cool. And these are all double sleeved, by the way. So I only have 2 double sleeved commander decks, and you saw Marin, and this is Breya. So we have Razortide Bridge, another artifact land that taps for blue or white. And we have, finally, Arcane Sanctum, which taps for white, blue, or black. So, that is the deck. Pretty cool stuff. Love Breya Etherium Shaper. The deck cares more, I think, about artifacts than it does Breya. But Breya is the what's the word I want to? It's the conduit in which to play this really cool artifact deck. So, she gives you 4 colors. We don't really need green. We don't need green. If she was 5 colors, it'd be like infinitely more powerful. But I think it's pretty powerful as it is. And we do have lots of stuff. We have, like, we have extra turns, like we said. We have ways to make things indestructible. One-sided board wipes. Just ways to do the thing. Ways to just be degenerate with this deck. One of my favorite decks. I do come from a Yu-Gi-Oh background back in the day. Way back in the day, which was long ago. Not anytime recent, but... and I used to be a big machine fan. I love machines, and artifacts are the machines of Magic the Gathering. So obviously, when I came over to Magic the Gathering, I was kind of infatuated, just interested in doing the quote unquote machine deck. So I was like, oh, there's colorless stuff in Magic, and those are artifacts. Those can go in any deck. Oh, sweet. So I gravitated towards artifacts and stuff like that. So. Which is why I really love this deck. Like I said, Marin is my favorite commander, but this is a close second in my book, just because I love artifacts so much, and artifacts are near and dear to my heart. I used to be a Chimera Tech Overdragon player back in the day in Yu-Gi-Oh. So if you know what that means, maybe you don't, but if you do, then you know what I love doing. But yeah, that's my Breya deck, Breya Etherium Shaper. Once again, I do apologize for maybe the graininess. I did zoom in a little, so that I don't have to hold the cards up as high, and hopefully you may read these. On my screen, it is very small, but on your screen, maybe it's big. Who knows? Maybe you're watching this on a TV. Maybe you're watching this in a theater with all your friends. Maybe you have like a projection screen, and maybe it's your birthday. And maybe you said, hey, let's celebrate my birthday by watching a video by Super Beast. Little MTG on the play today. Probably no one has done that, and probably no one will do that. But if you do that, hey, I love you for it. Also, make sure you comment on the video. I'll leave that there. Make sure you comment on the video. It really helps the algorithm. I'm doing this because I know that, like, you guys, a lot of you kind of pretty much like the Marin deck, and I didn't think it was going to do well because it wasn't gameplay, but you liked it, and a lot of people responded well to it, and a lot of people were like very happy with the Marin love, and I love Marin love, and hopefully you're happy with the Breya love. And like I said at the beginning, we did play a Breya deck in Arena, but there's a lot of cards in here that aren't in Arena that I wanted to show off, and I just wanted to show off the deck and talk about it, and just show what's in my personal deck. The deck lists are ever changing, so by the time you watch this, maybe there's different stuff in this deck, but this is how it's been for a little while. I haven't really updated this in a couple months. So I decided now is the time to do this, since it's been this deck list for a little while. And but it could change. All my decks are changing. Sometimes I like see a card and I'm like, oh wow, that would be super good for this deck. And it's like, how did I never know about that? Magic has like 1 million cards, so like it's easy to like forget that things exist. But I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know in the comments about your Breya deck. What do you put in your Breya deck? I'm sure some of you have some really, really cool things in there, and I would love to know about it. So let me know in the comments. Talk about your Breya deck. Show off your Breya deck. Like give me your deck lists. I don't know, like just let's open a conversation about Breya, because Breya is so cool, and I really like Breya a lot. And as much as this video is a deck tech, it's also just like a reason to have a conversation about one of my favorite cards. So. So hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It helps the algorithm out. It helps YouTube tell me to do more of these. So thank you so much. We'll see you next time. Peace out, and have an absolutely wonderful day.